You are welcome to today's episode of Formula for Everyday with the Formula Law.
Good morning, beautiful. How was your night? Mine was wonderful with you by my side. And when I opened my eyes and see your sweet face, it's a good morning, beautiful day.
Hi, welcome to Formula for Everyday. I am your host, Lawrence Nkwocha, the Formula Law. Today we'll be considering a very important topic in the process of digital creativity. Now, the interesting thing about this topic is that many people don't like doing this, but it is very important that you master this habit very early as a content creator. So our topic for today is the writing process in digital creativity. So when you consider writing, a lot of people want to first of all think that it's only writers that can actually write. The truth about it is that each and every one of us is a writer and must master the habit of writing if we would love to be digital creators. So before we go further, let us redefine content. Content is the text, pictures, and videos available on the digital space, especially the internet. So when you consider all the text, the pictures, and the videos available on the digital space, that is exactly what content is. Now, understanding how a creator's mind works is a very important step in successful content creation. You must know that every work you want to create, be it a picture or a video or even a text like a blog content, needs to be written down first of all, because even pictures that photographers take have themes. You have to know the theme of what you want to take. You could actually write down your mood board of how you want the photo shoot to go. You could organize a script for your documentary or video content, because the script is organizing your ideas such that any director can pick up the script and actually direct the content you want to produce. So you don't need to be called a writer in order to be able to write for the digital creative space. As a matter of fact, you don't even need to be certified. You don't need to go through any particular school in order to be affirmed as a writer. All you need to do in the writing process of digital creativity is be able to write down, to be able to document ideas in a way that you'll be able to remember them. And writing is just like push-ups. You don't get to only read about push-ups, you learn by doing it. So for example, in the last decade, I read a lot of books. I certainly don't remember everything I read, but that's why I use journals. So the more I read, I tend to jot down my ideas. So whenever I need those ideas, I just go back to my journal instead of going to the original book. So as you read, as you experience your daily life, you find out that you begin to think about things by yourself, because humans are naturally very inquisitive. You want to ask questions of why things are like this. So that could actually be the inception of a content that you could create. So you should always be very handy with a good pen, or you could also use your notepads on your computer or your phones, or you could hold a pen and a very good journal where you could actually put down ideas. So there's actually no precise formula for the writing process. As I said earlier on, you get to learn how to write by actually writing, although it's way more easier if you follow the method of reverse engineering. Reverse engineering is just reading similar content in the industry that you want to create content in, like the industry of your choice. If you want to create content in an industry like you want to become, let's say for instance, you want to become a financial expert, then reading books like The Richest Man in Babylon, Think and Grow Rich could actually help your content creation, because you begin to get ideas of how one could actually become financially prudent by reading such books.
You are still listening to Formula for Everyday with the Formula Law. Stay tuned.
So reverse engineering in content creation is repurposing a piece of content to fit your personal story or experience or the message you plan to convey. Just like I give an example of the financial industry. If you read Think and Grow Rich or The Richest Man in Babylon, which are very wonderful classics, you don't get to write or to copy exactly what these authors have written down. All you do is that you actually relate their content to your present knowledge, and you try to use whatever they've written down to actually create a fresh content that your audience can actually find attractive. But even in carrying out reverse engineering for digital media, you must be careful to reference relevant sources where necessary, and as much as possible you also need to try to avoid plagiarism. Now, plagiarism is just simply stealing someone else's intellectual property. At times it becomes very necessary for you to borrow. You could actually borrow ideas or you borrow format, then that's why it's important for you to reference the authors of such works. But as much as possible you try to avoid plagiarism for the sake of integrity. Your audience can, of course, they must have gone through the material from which you are copying from, or it's not just for the sake of integrity. It's good you just avoid every form of plagiarism. So usually inspiration to write anything at all comes from reading. So in order to be able to write efficiently, you must have to be a reader. So as you continue to read, you get inspired by words of the authors in order to be able to become an authority in your own niche or industry. You need to know how to alter your own content by studying the pattern by which these authors write out content. So most times when you sit down to make your first draft, it's usually 50% garbage. You write out content and you find out that almost 50% it is kind of irrelevant to the message you actually want to convey. But if you give this process a little patience, you find out that after a few days you can return with a fresh eye and realize where adjustments need to be made. So the writing process in digital creativity requires a lot of patience. Like, I can tell you from experience that even putting together just a 1-minute video, like you want to storyboard for a 1-minute video, writing it out could actually take a lot of time. But the good thing about digital creativity, just like every other endeavor, is that as you continue to do it, you continue to find easier ways and you begin to find faster ways on how to achieve your creativity in very good time. So because of the writing process in digital creativity takes a lot of time, it is important for you to start early enough. It's actually possible to get brainwaves during the day as you undergo your daily routine, but scheduling your content will be more effective in order to be able to go through the process of creation.
You are still listening to Formula for Every Day with the Formula Law. Stay tuned.
So quickly, I will give you 4 ways by which you could be able to improve the writing, your content writing and your writing in the creative process. So first of all, you must know that anything that is new to you is actually new. Perhaps you may have heard that nothing is new under the sun, and that's actually true, but whatever comes to you as an original idea is actually new to you and you must stick to it. So whatever you want to create, you must begin by writing out your initial original ideas. Now, without looking at any particular reference, you sit down, ensure that you dig into what you have in your mind and what you really want to create, and you put it down, you write it out. No matter how sketchy it is, you just put it out. You don't need to write it in any particular pattern. You could write it in bullet points, you could number it, you could actually just sketch out the ideas and just label it like mind mapping. So what you should first of all do is to write out your original ideas. So writing out your original ideas, personally, I use a lot of music. So there are different things that inspire people to write. We have love of a woman, we have hate, we have grief, we have enthusiasm, and so many others. So the second step I would recommend for you to take is to study the works of other professionals. So when you study the work of other professionals, you begin to see how they actually put down their work. So you study their syntax. Perhaps you want to write a book or you want to write a script. You study how they articulate their words to actually convey a particular idea. When it comes to a photograph, you can actually study the color grade. Perhaps you even write out the colors, whether it's warm or cold. When you write out such ideas, you find out that it becomes easier to create it when you go on set. So when it comes to films and documentaries and stories, you study the plot and the progression of the movie until it comes to its final conclusion. So the third step is to make your first draft early and give it a few days before revisiting it. So when you have a content to produce in a week, it's very important for you to start very early. You give it enough time so that whatever is left of the idea, you'll be able to catch it before the actual deadline ever comes. So you should also know that no piece of art is ever completed. We only choose to abandon it most of the times. So you should not spend forever creating your content. You should be disciplined enough to set a particular time limit to whatever it is you want to create. So the fourth step I would recommend is for you to continue to edit your work. Continue to edit your work to remove irrelevant pieces or materials from your work and continue to add relevant materials, because as you give your work time, you find out that ideas continue to come to you. As you think about what you've written or perhaps what you've sketched out to write, you find out that different pieces of what you did not think about initially begins to come together, and before long you find out that you have a complete piece of what you want to actually create. So remember, don't spend forever creating a particular piece of content, because perfection is just it's a myth. It doesn't exist. So if you do a very good work today, you find out that as you continue to do, your works only continue to get better. So I quote Seafood and Law. He said that quality only comes with quantity. We must be careful not to spend too much time because of perfection in order to be able to put our content out there. Sometimes you actually never know if something is good enough until you put it out there. So by so doing, you find out that your friends, your family, and even critics begin to give you feedback. Most of the times, the feedback, especially from people we are familiar with, is very good. But you also find out that critics will begin to find faults at your work, and I need you to be very open about this, because it only makes you better. Because the next time you try it, you look out for such ideas and you'll be able to do better. So you should be very courageous about the writing process. Writing actually is not a very easy habit to form, but the good thing about writing is that once you form the habit, it becomes very easy to do and very difficult to go away. Now, writing is just like riding a bicycle. You cannot unlearn what you already know about it. So as much as possible and as early as possible, begin to take the courage to write. So thanks for listening to today's podcast. I remain your host, Lawrence Nkwocha, the Formula Law. This is Formula for Everyday. Thanks for listening to today's episode. I look forward to having you again in the next episode. Bye for now.
This podcast holds every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. Thank you for listening to today's Roadside. Hope you learned something new. I would like you to join in on the next episode.
Since you came along, I can face the dawn, 'cause I know you'll be there. Good morning, beautiful. How was your night?